Now, the Irish Air Corps are certainly at a point where they're considering purchasing a fleet of jet aircraft. And the three that have stood out most, according to the contributors to this channel, are the FA-50 from Korea, pictured, and also the Saab Gripen, wonderful aircraft that is indeed, and also the Dassault Rafale. So those are the three aircraft that we're really concentrating on here today in terms of how the fact that they have ITAR components in them to some extent affects the potential for the Irish Air Corps purchasing them and adopting them into the Air Corps. Now, the situation with regards to ourselves here in Ireland is that we could see ourselves purchasing equipment and finding ourselves being stuck with the fact that somebody else really has control over them. If the goal is maximum insulation from the US export controls, well then the Rafale then obviously the best fit. But the problem is the Rafale has a two-engine aircraft and it's quite a beast, all right. I think might be a handful for the Irish Air Corps, whereas the single-engine Gripen would be far more easily integrated into the Irish Air Corps. So if affordability and operational efficiency are priorities, the Gripen is definitely compelling. It's cost effective and certainly an outstanding choice. So the uncomfortable truth is sovereignty is not something you buy off a shelf. It's built over decades through industrial investment, diplomatic alignment, logistics resilience, and political will. Aircraft are only one piece of the equation. Planning, training, supply chain, and foresight matters just as much, if not more. So can Ireland buy fighter jets that no one can turn off? I wouldn't think so, not literally at least, and not in the deeper structural sense either. Leverage always will exist, as I say, and particularly through the logistics. The real question is how much Ireland is willing to accept and from whom and in exchange for what advantages. So framing it in this way allows for a rational fact-based conversation here in Ireland without fear, hype, or oversimplification. The discussion isn't about a kill switch, it's about preparedness, planning, and understanding the levers of influence in modern defence systems. The jets themselves are one element of a larger picture, a picture of sovereignty maintained through sustained investment, robust logistics, and strategic foresight. Now, the real question now will be ultimately whether the Irish government, in fact, intends to acquire any fighter jets whatsoever for the Irish Air Corps. Now, if they were to purchase them, they have purchased recently quite a number of items from the French, and number one standout being the primary radar they purchased for almost €1 billion. So that's a major thing. So you would imagine if they're planning on expanding out on that purchase, that they would be looking at the Dassault Rafale. Now, I would have no doubt in my mind that they would purchase a French aircraft if they could, particularly a single-engine aircraft. But I believe they also understand that is the Irish government understands that a twin-engine aircraft like the Rafale would be a little bit too much at this stage. Now, it just is a matter of time, really, to see exactly what goes on in the future here with regards to our acquisition of fighter aircraft. Like I say, it's been a long time since the Irish Air Corps have real any experience in fighter aircraft with jet engines. Now, we have been using the PC-9s and the PC-12, which are propeller-driven aircraft. When I say all, turboprop aircraft, but still propeller driven, and that is a major difference between themselves, those type of aircraft, and the likes of the JAS-39 Saab Gripen and the Dassault Rafale, and indeed the FA-50 from Korea. Now, the like I say, what the future holds remains to be seen. But one thing is for certain, and that is a huge amount of pressure being placed on the Irish government from European allies to make sure that the cables, particularly in the Irish waters off the west coast of Ireland, are protected. And the concern really is that there isn't enough effort and resources placed into this aspect of the defence. Now, for myself, I definitely think we are going in the right direction. We did mean the Irish Air Corps purchased three C-295 maritime patrol vessels from Airbus recently, and that was a major acquisition, and they will certainly form the backbone of the maritime defence out in the Atlantic. But we certainly still need fast aircraft that can get out there and make sure that the air space is properly policed. Now, I know that we're relying on others to do that job for us, which is a little bit complicated, all right, and we won't get into the politics of it, but we're just to say, in terms of the aircraft, those are the aircraft that I would suggest: the FA-50, which is a fabulous aircraft, the Dassault Rafale, which is probably the best of the lot, really, when you consider it, and then, of course, the Saab Gripen, which is a super aircraft as well. But all of them have their own, let's say, I wouldn't say fallbacks, but failures. The primary ones are the American-made engines in the FA-50 and the Saab Gripen, but the French-made one, I gotta say, is the Safran M88 engine, which is a domestically produced engine in France, which means that the Dassault Rafale is essentially free of ITAR restrictions, which would be a major consideration in terms of adopting this particular aircraft for the Air Corps. What else can we say except that the negative side of that is France, just and indeed Sweden, have now are both NATO members, and that could complicate matters indeed if Ireland were to take a strong non-aligned position that might be contrary to NATO policy in some way. I'd imagine it wouldn't be too looked down upon with favour by our partners, but nonetheless, it's very difficult to get total autonomy. As you can see, the ITAR is going to affect the purchases of these products. That's the international trade in the arms regulations in America. These regulations are really all-encompassing, really, in one way or another. And if they don't exist, as in the case of France, well, then you're still going to have NATO restrictions in one way or another. Right, well, these are the three aircraft that stand out, and these are the three aircraft that are only the real candidates, from my own estimation and from the estimation of the majority of the contributors to this channel. These are the three aircraft that without a doubt don't have any real other competitors in terms of their appeal to the Irish Air Corps. So really remains to be seen, as I said, whether the Irish Defence Forces acquire these aircraft, but we'll only know in time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until the next one, all I say is bye for now.